Hello everyone, welcome back to Cloud Delight YouTube channel. This is the place where we learn technology. Today we'll be discussing on landing zone implementation using Control Tower. This is the Control Tower architecture which AWS provides typically, where we have a management account along with different types of accounts. One for security, log archive, shared services, plus the workload accounts as per the requirement from the customers or how you want to implement your environment. In our demo, to understand the process of creation properly and clearly, we have kept it simple, where we will have one management account where we'll be initiating the control tower landing zone creation, and we will add two more accounts, one for audit account, one for log archive account under a security OU. OU is nothing but organization unit. So let's switch to AWS management console. So here few important things which we'll have to keep in mind is that the first thing is you'll have to identify on which region you want to have your landing zone setup to be done. This is because once you decide and do a setup of landing zone in a particular region, there is no option where you will be able to change the region later point in time once the control tower landing zone setup is completed. So you have to be very cautious while deciding on the region where you want to operate your landing zone. Now, this is if you search in the search bar for the control tower, this is the place where you land up. You get a setup landing zone option. This is previously I had done it, so it is showing me that I have decommissioned it to show up again. So now I'll be clicking on setup landing zone. Now we have couple of things which we'll have to keep in mind. There are certain instructions which it gives, like you have to have there are two ways here. One, whether you want to create a brand new accounts for the additional accounts like log archive, audit, shared services, or dev accounts, production accounts, whatever you want to bring it under the governance of the control tower. Two option is, one, you can create a brand new accounts. The second, you can bring the existing accounts under the control tower governance also. So there are two options which are available which you can choose. So there are different options which are available as part of this. And with respect to control tower, there are certain default settings which gets enabled once we complete the setup that I'll be showing you. And they talk about pricing here. To come on the pricing, control tower as such as a managed service does not have any additional charges or upfront fees which you'll have to pay to AWS, but the services which gets activated as part of control tower setup are something which you will have to pay. For example, I'll be using CloudTrail event logging mechanism with respect to control tower. So CloudTrail billing will be enabled, like I'll have to pay the cost which gets occurred because of CloudTrail, but as such control tower does not have any additional charges. Now home region, as I mentioned, you'll have to choose your home region properly. So you cannot change your home region after setting your landing zone. That's the reason we'll have to be very cautious. I am choosing Mumbai for all practical purposes. Now region deny settings. If you want to deny any region, you can enable and choose the region of your choice. Now I'm not going for region restrictions as such. And then add additional regions for governance. Which all the regions has to come under the governance of control tower. Now say you are operating in Mumbai and Singapore regions. You have the developers who are creating resources across multiple regions, and I want the policies across the organization units, across the accounts, whatever I enable, to be enabled across the regions also. So that's the reason, if you want any additional regions that needs to be enabled, you have to pick and choose in this particular option. Next, now here this is the organization unit. To start a well-planned organization structure in your landing zone, control tower sets up a security OU for you. That means security OU. One OU is a mandatory thing. The name you will have to choose it, whether it has to be security, or you want to call it an audit organization unit, or you want to call it security services, anything of your choice, you'll be able to make the changes. And plus one additional OU, it will allow us to create one additional OU Opt out of creating OU is also possible. I don't want to create any additional OU because I have an option to create OU even after creation of landing zone. So that's the reason I can opt it out also. If you want to create like development organization unit, you want to create anyway, it is a requirement, then you can go and choose it. Now I'm opting out. Now I'm keeping security OUs as such. Next. Now if you see, the management account is the account which it takes by default using the account wherever we are operating. So that is AWS. This is the email which I have used for this management account, so it is allowing me. It is grayed out. You will not be able to change the management account of your choice. Now create a new account. As I was mentioning previously, you have two options, whether you want to create a new account and use an existing account. And audit account also, you can choose existing account or an audit account later point in time. You can go with this or this option of your choice, and then click on let me use the existing account quickly, and then I'll show you quickly on the organizations, where I have already the accounts which are created, so I'll be picking up from there. So if you have to create a new accounts, then you'll have to have an email IDs for that specific accounts, then you'll have to get that. So what I'll do, I'll pick the account numbers here and then place it. This is for log archive. Okay, this is for log archive. Let me pick and choose for log archive existing account, and audit account also I'm picking the account ID and then placing the account ID here. Okay, now if you are going for create new account, you will have to give an email ID which is not used previously, that you can use it for the creation of the accounts. Now, so CloudTrail configurations, it gets enabled by default. If you want, if you don't want that to happen, you can give it as not enabled, but it is a best practice to enable the CloudTrail events for all practical purposes. For all security and governance, you will have to enable it. S3 bucket log configuration, it automatically creates a bucket for us. These are some of the settings which gets by default created. So these are some of the things which will incur costs. So backend it will get created. So it will show us an option what all we need to set. So log configuration, what is the retention for logging? What is the retention for access logging? You can choose one for this and one for this, like that. Encryption, if you want to encrypt any of the data in your control tower, you can enable customization encryption, which is available, but for now I'm not doing it to keep it simple. There is an option for encryption as well. Now you have all the default settings and all the things which are enabled, and then I understand, and if you click on setup landing zone. So ideally it will take 45 minutes to 1 hour to set up the landing zone. So this is the process of creating a landing zone using control tower. However, this video, I'll stop this video for now, and we have all the details which gets enabled as part of next video. But keep in mind, there are two options. You will be able to create a new account and add it to landing zone setup, or you will have an existing account which you can bring it and make it as a particular organization setup itself. Okay, so this is all which we wanted to cover as part of this video. Until we meet again, thank you so much.